Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Tonight, we turn the spotlight on a controversy that goes to the heart of regional equity, national development and the implementation of a flagship policy under the Tinubu administration, the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program. At the center of the storm is a protest by federal lawmakers from the Northeast who have accused the federal government of sidelining the region in the rollout of the multi-million-dollar SAPZ initiative aimed at transforming Nigeria's agricultural landscape. Led by Senator Danjuma Goje, the Northeast Caucus expressed outrage that despite the region's vast potential in agriculture and livestock, it was excluded from the phase 1 of the program. But the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is pushing back hard, describing the claim as misplaced and inaccurate. The Minister, Abubakar Kyari, insists that the Renewed Hope agenda is built on a foundation of inclusivity. He revealed that the phase 2 of the SAPZ is already underway, with 3 Northeast states, Borno, Bauchi and Gombe State, meeting eligibility criteria, while others have been urged to step up. Now, as the federal government reels off a list of ongoing agricultural projects in the region, from wheat farming in Gombe State to irrigation infrastructure in Bauchi and ecological restoration across the zone, the bigger question remains, is the Northeast truly being carried along, or is this another case of policy optics versus regional reality? Joining us tonight for an all-important discussion on this one is Senator Aminu Iya Abbas, the senator representing Adamawa Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly. Distinguished, thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Abdullahi.
Right. Let's start this way. What specifically triggered this public outcry from the caucus?
Well, I think last week we read over the news of the launching of the SAPZ in Kaduna, and we came to realize that out of the 8 zones created, none is from the Northeast. And you see, the way the table is zone by zone, region by region. We realize that the Southwest has 2 zones in Ogun and Oyo, and the Northwest has 2 also in Kano and Kaduna. North Central has 1 in Kwara and the 1 in FCT. Then there is 1 in Southeast, that's Imo. The 1 in South, that's Cross River. Then it perpetrates that why is it that out of 8 zones, none is from Northeast? And at the same time, almost all of us, the caucus members, started contacting each other. Why should this kind of project, the number of this project, they transform our real agricultural communities, will not be cited in Northeast, in any of the states? So we were wondering, and we came together and issued a statement reminding the federal government that Northeast is also part of Nigeria. It's not politics, it's just we are calling for fairness for our region. And a lot of people say so many things before the launch of the SAPZ about appointments. We don't do those issues about projects and roads. If you open up, you realize that actually what is this sideline. And once you start talking, people now say it's politics. People like us say we are not from APC, we are not from this, and we are not happy with what the government is doing. So that's why we're taking ourselves aback and we're looking at what's happening. But at some time when we talk, they will tell you that you have vice president, you have disappointment, you have disappointment, they should. But they actually, federal government, we are representative of people. So we are voted to speak for our people. And that is why when we see something like this, we need to come together and then air our view. And that's what we did last week. We called on the federal government to please consider Northeast and implement this. If there is any phase, if there's any other zones to be created. Luckily, as the minister came out to say there is a second phase, and I was told, I spoke with the minister, they're going to do in trenches. I spoke with the national coordinator after that of the agricultural processing zones, and they explained to me the other things are coming, and they do it in tranches, and they capture at least 35 states with Abuja, 36. So we wait to see when the second phase. But you know, the problem we had in Nigeria is that once you say phase, before you come to the second phase.
Right. So there's no guarantee that it may happen.
Well, we are doubting, but they say they have the funding, they have everything in place, but it's just Nigeria.
Have you been assuaged? Has the caucus been assuaged by this reaffirmation?
Well, we did meet as caucus, but we talked to each other. I spoke to so many senators, and some of them told me that the minister also called them and explained, and they've seen the explanation, and they await to see the reaction of the ministry for the next phase of the zone.
And Senator, was there like a prior communication between the caucus and the Ministry of Food Security, Agriculture and Food Security before this conference? Because one would have thought, because lawmakers have oversight function, you definitely have one or two ways you can reach ministries, departments.
Well, first of all, we are not aware about it, because this first phase, as according to them, started in 2018. I am also a member of the Committee on Agricultural Production, but I've not heard about this until it's been launched. So, well, what drew attention is the issue of not having any state from Northeast. You cannot have a place like Northeast that has 1/3 of the landmass of Nigeria, with agrarian population, with the security challenges you have in Northeast. And everyone knows that most of us are farmers in Northeast, and we don't have one. And when you look at what the chairman said, if you look at livestock, Northeast produce almost 80% of livestock of Nigeria goes through Northeast, from Borno, from Yobe, from Adamawa, from Gombe. So we wonder if you can take a zone, processing zone, to Imo for livestock processing zone, and we don't have any in the Northeast. So that was why we spoke. We spoke out on behalf of our people, and they offered the explanation. And told me we need to give it time to look at, if at all, we've started our own, and then we wait for them to see whether the actions will match with their own words.
Given that this initiative started under the Buhari administration, do you believe that the region is being systematically excluded, or is this an oversight that is already being corrected?
Well, you see, personally, I always have I'm always skeptical of the budget and duties in Nigeria. The policymakers of Nigeria doesn't know some part of the country. You can't sit down in your office. If you ask you a state, some policymakers don't even know the states and their capitals. How can you design policy for the entire country? Things are supposed to go to the representative of the people, and let them offer their own view, and then you now select from there. Somebody will sit throughout his life as a bureaucrat in the office. He doesn't even in our budget. When you look at our budget, when you look at our budget, I'll give you an instance. There is a budget. I have something here that was cited in my village last year. In my village, stated, but it was cited actually in the state capital, and the same was read. So that shows you that people that are even making these policies, making this budget, are not even aware. They don't even know how the country is structured. They don't know the towns, the local governments, the villages. So you can't sit down in Abuja and then start allocating.
You don't believe that these are clerical errors?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. When you mention the kind of place you mentioned in my village, and then you cite it in Yola, no. It shouldn't. So this is why we call for inclusion, participation, involvement of lawmakers. We are not saying give them, but involve the lawmakers from those areas, if that anything, so that you now get true position of place, or true position things that you need to do, and then we will tell you what we need. It's not what somebody is in Abuja, they're sitting in the office, will say, I need to give water. Why they don't need water in my state, for instance? You want to cite water project there. Ask me, and I'll tell you why we need water, why we need hospital, why we need road, why we need culvert, why we need drainage. I tell you. They can't sit in the office and say you have to set for us.
And does that feel like a tradition that has been carried along administration after administration?
Yes, that's what's happening. Some of the projects you see in the budget, you look at this, you wonder how did they put these projects. So this is one of it. If you can sit down and say, okay, probably they say some of the states are not qualified. For instance, for the second phase, the explanation of said that some states are not qualified. So what are the criteria of qualifying states? If you want to do livestock, you are not taking Adamawa, for instance. What criteria are you using?
Do you think those criteria are unfair or unrealistic to a certain extent?
Unfair. It's unfair. There's interest.
Political?
Probably.
I mean, you have the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security is from the Northeast.
Yes.
The Vice President is from the North.
Yes.
The National Security Advisor, one of the key political figures in the administration, is from your state.
Security advisor, it doesn't implement projects.
He does have some influence.
It doesn't implement projects.
So, I mean, as the man overseeing the implementation of this is from Yobe State.
Yeah, we have the livestock minister from Adamawa State.
Right. You also have the Minister Idihong. I beg your pardon, Meha.
Yes.
From Adamawa State. So, why do these concerns seem to be more disturbing to you as lawmakers when you have people in the executive who naturally should feel, okay, if the situation is ripe in this region, we will do it? Is it possible that they are looking at it objectively and not necessarily?
Well, first of all, we don't blame the present administration for this, if at all, as the minister stated. It was started in 2018. We were not in office at that time, so we don't know the criteria those people use in selecting those states that qualify for the zoning. But for the second phase, for you to tell us that some states are not qualified, even though they have expressed the interest of having these zones, I don't know which criteria they use. And let me tell you why we are concerned. When you look at the policy of these zones, it is very important to our people. It is something that our people want to have. It's something to improve the household income. Something that will create job. Something that will bring people close to the market. I know the post-harvest waste in the north. Once there is the harvest of particular crop or particular fruit, it is just waste around. So this thing will harness everything, bring it, improve their income, So that is why we are concerned. These are things that affect us directly, affect our people are farmers. So we can't sit down and not say anything because somebody offered us explanation before they even launch it.
Distinguished, there are some who would say, listen, I mean, not everything is shared equally or with equity at all times. Sometimes because of limited resources, you prioritize.
Then we give 2 per state. We give some regions 2 and you get a complete region.
You think this could have still been done in a way that would serve?
Of course. Okay, that's why I asked, what are the criteria used in qualifying the states?
Are those questions not answered?
Is it party? We have 3 states that APC controlled in Northeast. We have 3 states controlled by PDP. Is it membership of National Assembly? We have seats equally, 9. So what is it that a state will qualify in some other zones, but not in Northeast region? That's the question we ask.
And has there been an attempt to answer that question?
Well, all they told us that now they've secured, to share to them, they have secured additional $1 billion. And this money is much. For this 8 zone, is $530 million. So the explanation now with another $1 billion, the vice president secured another $1 billion because some states were not included, and the vice president to lobby and get additional $1 billion for these zones. Now the zones are being is going to be in 3 phases, but the phase 2 will be in like 3 tranches. So they are starting phase 2, the first tranche, the second tranche, and third tranche, then they go to phase 3. So if that is that is true, or what they're saying is what will happen, because as I told you, you always feel skeptical in Nigeria when they say they will do this first and they will come for second set or third set. Some will say it will never happen. So, but we agree, we accept the explanation, and we wait for them to see if the second phase will take place.
There is this concern, and you probably can tell, that over the past couple of days, the political tension in the country has been upped a little bit with conversations about regional biases and sentiments and things like that. And one of the lawmakers from the region they come from, although on a different political platform, did accuse the Tinubu administration of nepotism or lopsided appointments, something that the administration has pushed back on. But just days later, your caucus came out from the same region and you're crying foul over distribution of resources. Do you worry about the optics that you're trying to regionalize development in such a way that it's all man for himself, so to say?
It's not like that, but first of all, our chairman, in his personal capacity, first raised some concern over the projects on roads in the Northeast Zone. He was told that Northeast Zone will be considered. Before the Senator Aminu Iya came up, all those people are people of the same political party. But this one that we spoke, there's no political party among us. We are talking as Northeast representative. I'm not saying bring it to Adamawa State. No. Bodo is not saying take it to Gombe State. No. The man for Bodo is not saying take it to Bodo. They are saying take it to any, at least state we qualify that in the Northeast. Take it to one state. So I don't know how people look at it. But personally, if there is semblance of fairness in appointment, Nigerians know. If there is not, Nigerians know. There's something you do in Nigeria that people will not tell you, whether when you are in the office or after you leave the office. If you leave the office, people will bring it and bring the history and show you. So the administration know that if they are doing, if there is, what will I say, fairness in appointments, they know. I don't want to delve into that. If they know there's no fairness, they know. And Nigerians are aware. And everybody is seeing.
And as far as development goes, where do you rank the Northeast in terms of trying to step out of the doldrums? We know this is a region that...
we are the backward region in Nigeria. That's why we think famous. That's why
when you say backward, can you qualify
that? In terms of development, in terms of employment, it's the poorest region among the regions in Nigeria. What is the poorest region? That's why project is such magnitude, but it should be considered first. Even if you are not qualified, you can, there's political solution to some of this thing. And take it to notice. Taraba State, everybody in Taraba State is a family state. Take it to them.
Well, we do have the Northeast Development Commission.
There's one of the development commissions now. So if we feel that we have Northeast Development Commission, why create other commissions for every region?
But it's safe to say that there are other alternatives. That
so if you can create regions for others, why can't we complain if you give other people projects? But you don't give notice.
So you believe there is a balancing of certain provisions of whether it's commissions, agencies, like the development commission, every region now has one.
Okay, what's the difference? Right. We are not complaining, but we are not saying just treat it fairly. If you are bringing projects, consider notice also. You say notice are taking advantage of the development commission, fine. You've created a development commission in each region. Like, okay. We are very okay. But we call for fairness. If there are projects, we are not talking about only SAPZ. Every project in this country, as I told you, the chairman complained in his personal capacity, not as forum. He complained about roads in Northeast initially. Before he complained about employment, appointments, whatever he complained. Now, we are not talking, we are talking about projects of this magnitude because we are agrarian region. We want our people to benefit from this, we want our rural agricultural communities to benefit from this. So that is why we complain. Aside from this, we don't have any problem.
Some senator would say, what about the state governments? Why are they not taking a share of the responsibility here? Why are only
on these projects or what?
On this one, for instance, but on many other initiatives.
They have their own projects, they have their own initiative. This is Nigerian projects. You are bringing your in Nigeria. It's a federal government. Everybody is starting to get to the federal government. We are saying if other regions will get two, it is only fair for our region to get one.
But do you feel your voice would be louder and much more effective if the governors will echo that same argument?
Well, the governors are voted for their states. We have voted to come to national. We are voted about people at the center. Governments cannot come and talk about federal government, how federal government does their things. That's why people voted for us. Members of the National Assembly, from Senate and the House of Rep, are the ones that will talk when it comes to federal government matter for our people. And that's why we approve budgets. That's why we go oversight to ensure that our people get Nigerians. I mean, first of all, our people, then Nigerians at large.
Earlier on, you highlighted some of the obvious potentials of the processing zones and what it could do for the Northeast.
Yes.
Help us understand what you envision and what you understand the transformation would be for not just the sector but for the entire region.
Well, for the entire, first of all, if you have this processing zone in any state, there will be improvement in infrastructure, the roads, power, water, provision of water, and the rest for that particular area. And if you have that, you have processing factories in those areas. You have centers like clusters where they will get all those materials. For instance, if you are going to do butter, you have where you get the milk. You have centers that will supply the milk. Those centers are also under the process zone from various local governments. You can get centers that will now supply the zone. So our people will get the benefit of these things. And from this milk, they will produce a lot of things. They will produce butter, fat, and whatever. And then it is either for local consumption or for export. It will also reduce our import. Once you have these things, we don't need to import them in Nigeria. So there are a lot of value chain attached to this. And that's why we say we also need these things in our zone.
And when you look at the relationship between the National Assembly and the federal government, for the most part, Nigerians believe that you're always on the same page with the Tinubu administration when it comes to executing projects and working in a collaborative manner.
Yes.
Does this in any way change your views?
Not at all, because we all strive to achieve one thing. We strive to develop Nigeria and for the benefit of Nigerians. So we don't need to fight, we don't need to quarrel. But as I told you, this one, it comes out of fairness. We are saying it is fair for where we come from to get this thing.
I mean,
it doesn't change our relationship.
Looking at some of the pictures or the video from the press conference, you all seemed agitated about this.
Yeah, because people ask us, we have vice president. That's the question they always ask. People tell you that we have vice president, we have minister, why won't they do this? We say, no, the vice president is not vice president of Northeast. He's the vice president of Nigeria. He is not voted as vice president of Northeast. You can't tell us the president is president of Southwest. No. He's the president of Nigeria. And he took an oath for Nigeria. So he won't go there and be talking about Northeast. We were voted from Northeast. We were voted from our states, to represent our states. So it is only us that will come out and speak for our people. And that's why we don't want people to always tell us when we complain, say you have vice president, you have NSA. You said it here. We have NSA, we have minister of this, and they are all appointees of the federal government. They are appointees of the government, with the president.
Can you not leverage your relationship with these individuals to say, listen,
and that's why I told you. That's why I told you we spoke. The minister explained to us, and we are waiting. The minister explained to us there are other funding, and as I told you, Borno, Bauchi, and Gombe are now on the second phase. First tranche. Probably Adamawa will now come on the same second phase, maybe second tranche of it. We are waiting. We have to give them the benefit of that and then look at it and wait for it.
And what do you make of the synergy, especially when it comes to some of the economic reforms that the Tinubu administration is trying to implement, especially with regards to agriculture, for instance? The Ministry of Livestock Development is one of the latest additions to the federal government's bureaucracy, and you have someone from Adamawa State who is chair.
We have a very good relationship between the executive and the legislative arm in Nigeria. You know, but we don't tell you that. We work hand in hand, we work together to improve Nigerian living standard. Nobody's complaining about that. Nobody's complaining about the relationship. Nobody's complaining about the way the government is being run. We are not complaining.
But in terms of, say for instance, target specific areas, comparative advantage, we know that the Northeast has advantage when it comes to livestock, for instance.
Yes.
There's no other region that can compete with the Northeast, yes. Right? Have you not seen an appreciative development in that sector?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet. If there's any development that you know, you can let me know. I know there's NESAL, what was created for this purpose, for all this development of these regions. They have their own funds, but nothing comes out of it. But this one, they are serious. When you look at what happened, the launch in Kaduna and the one in Oyo, you know that these are serious projects that are coming to the country. So that's why we're asking for this. But all other are just policy. When you give us minister, we agree, you give a minister. The minister is minister from Adamawa State, but he's not minister for Adamawa State. He's minister from Adamawa State, the minister of Nigeria on livestock. So we need to understand this difference. Yes, he's our brother, but he cannot judge what the Federal Executive Council or what maybe his master.
Some will say, distinguish, you're being too critical. I mean, the potential is there to develop livestock, isn't it? And that's a very big plus for the region.
Yes, naturally. We have that naturally. But that's why we're saying federal government should come and tap it. Come and give our people these advantages that other people are getting from other states. We want to take the advantage. We want our people to improve. We want the household income to improve. We want the rural agro community to improve their living standard. We want jobs to be created. We want the infrastructure to improve. That's just what we want. And once you do this, you will reduce the number of people. First of all, you reduce the unemployment. Secondly, as I said, you reduce import of some raw materials into Nigeria. Thirdly, you reduce even migration. Urban migration, from rural to urban migration, you reduce it. So people will stay because they know they have what they're doing at home. They know they can earn a living at home, they stay. And then the security, overall, the security improve because people have what they're doing. So we need this in Northeast more than other zones.
And you talk about how the Northeast is lagging behind, one of the poorest, to use your words, and obviously there's a lot of data to show that in terms of the poverty map and everything else. The insecurity has also undermined the economy of this particular region. Yes. Do you think the region itself is not receiving the kind of attention it needs to jumpstart its economy with all the potentials that we have been talking about, especially in the agriculture?
You see, Nigeria is a very interesting country. That's why everybody fights for his region. We are not saying previously there are a lot of things that have been done, even by creating Northeast region. It's an advantage that is given to Northeast zone. But whether they are performing or they have done enough, this one is another, we discussed that another time. But I mean, whether they have achieved the objective of why they were formed is something different. But the government has shown they are concerned. They have shown that they are with the people of Northeast by even creating Northeast for almost 8 years. We have this commission. Even these things, all these things, the commission is supposed to do it. It's supposed to improve the education standard of our region. And if you follow up with our budget defense, I always speak of it. I always speak of it. A commission like that cannot spend 2 billion, only 2 billion budget for a year, when you have about 400, 507 billion for education in Northeast. I said it even last budget defense. How can you budget or spend 2 billion on education? For entire Northeast, 2 billion naira.
Does this particular situation mirror what is happening in other regions, or are you saying what is happening in the Northeast specifically requires additional attention?
Well,
in terms of policy implementation.
The policy, you see, the regional commissions are allowed to formulate their own policy. Federal government allows the regional commissions, federal government allocate funds to them, they formulate, they know the problem of their people, they know what their people want, and that's why we're saying Northeast Commission particularly should stand up. Now, before, if they say they don't have competitors, now we have competitors. We have other regional commissions that can compete with them. We have other, after a year or two, that will say, look, we have done A, B, C for our region. So what we are saying is that the federal government has shown enough concern for our people. But we are saying that there are projects that if federal government is considering establishing in some states, they should also consider Northeast region. Don't like this SAPZ projects, because there are a lot of advantages that our people will get, and it will improve the standard of living of our people.
And distinguish, if we just zoom out a little bit away from just the specifics of the conversation, which is the processing zones, if we just zoom out a little bit, we get this sense that Nigeria is somewhat divided, or at least polarized, about what development looks like for the entire nation, and what development looks like across the region, and what development looks like across the 36 states of the Federation. It's safe to say everybody is complaining. So is your criticism of this implementation, for instance, signposting this competitiveness across the regions with limited resources?
Yeah. What I wish I told you that we have problem for our budgeting system in Nigeria. I'm an accountant. We have problem in our budgeting system. We budget for one thing in billions or billions, something this year, something next year, something, and the money will be moved, and you won't see anything. But it's problems. So as a legislator, I can't oversee everywhere. And as I told you, in the legislative arm, they not only have their own voice when it comes to the chamber, the majority have their way. So even if you want to complain, if you are few, what will you do? The beginning of our problem is the budgeting system. And I can remember when President Boy said you want to move to zero-based budgeting. Does it happen? We need to change the way we budget in this country. We need to change.
You're saying that is at the center of the problem?
The foundation of our problem is from the budget. And the second problem we have in this country is the procurement law. The procurement law. The implementation, the assurance that, look, things must be procured, things must be done according to the law. It's a problem. But when you look at the budget, when you look at projects cited, when you look at the way every state, every zone, every region has enough. But after the budget, after the implementation, go and check.
Do you realize, as Senator, it's sounding like, okay, here's an individual who is part of 109 senators, right?
Yeah.
Who have oversight powers.
Yes.
Who could make amendments.
How?
Who could make amendments?
One person?
I mean, I'm not just you, for instance. I'm saying the institution itself, right?
Yes.
Are you saying that, that power is not being put to use, or are you saying
the power is there, we have the power, but I as an individual cannot do it alone.
Is this not something your other colleagues share with you in terms of? Because when the budget,
it all depends.
During some of the defense sessions, we've seen so many committees raise questions and concerns about allocations and things like that, and budget performances and things like that. It does appear that there are so many senators, House of Representative members, who are bothered by what they see on pen and paper, right? In pen and paper, but why doesn't it seem to move the needle? I mean,
the policymakers need to understand, need to look at these things that we're talking about. But they need to fight. They need to look at these things we're talking about. Some of the presentation, the budget, some are wrongly presented. When you go through them, you see some of them are wrongly presented. The behavior is wrong. Okay, in a year you are creating 3, 4, 5 budgets. How do you do it? Implementing this budget, 2023, 2024, 2024, amendment 20. How do you do it?
As an accountant, does it worry you so much that our book is messed up?
A lot, but I have no power to do anything. I can't change anything. Mind you, I'm from opposition party again, so I can't change much. What I have is to talk when there's budget defense, or when there's any forum that I can talk. For us to change. But it's not the problem of this present administration. The budget system they inherited, these administration inherited the same thing, Buhari inherited the same thing, Abdullahi inherited the same thing. We need to have people that have focus and will change the way we do things in this country.
The Tinubu administration obviously has its mantra of renewed hope, right? And even with some of the initiatives in the agriculture sector.
Did you change the budget? I'm talking of the budget system. Budget system is a problem.
Yeah, I'm segueing to a particular point. Do you think that this particular vision of the administration is being felt, say for instance, from your senatorial district? There is a great portion of your district that is into farming, for instance. Do you think some of the policy direction of whether it's the federal government or the state government is being felt at the grassroots?
If there's any that is given for the entire country, yes. But if it is selective, no. I give you an instance. When there was a time they give fertilizer, they give fertilizer, we share fertilizer for people to farm. Yeah, we get it. But there are other things that we've done that, like by district, will not be considered because, yes, I'm from opposition party, but I'm in the ruling party in the state, and the state is doing a lot for us. Our governors are doing wonderfully well in the states. So, but when it comes to federal government, you consider which party you come from. We will cite this because it's not from this party. We will cite that for. It's not starting from tinubu administration. No, that's
That's the practice.
Yes.
So it will help your people a lot if you join APC today.
Well, my people are PDP people. Adamawa is PDP based.
Right.
So joining APC.
So this is the cost of being in the opposition then.
Yes, but we agree because the state is doing well for our people.
Right.
But it will stop us from talking. Because we are elected to come and speak on behalf of our people. So we still talk, whether we are happy, whether somebody is happy or somebody is happy, we will talk. If there's a opportunity to talk, we will talk. And we are not saying this thing on a mere allegation, or maybe political. I'm not saying it, as I said. I give you reference on the budgeting even from Obasanjo down to present administration. I say we need to change. I'm not blaming Tinubu for this, but I say we need to change as Nigeria.
Senator, there are people watching the program right now and saying this is a senator of the Federal Republic.
Yeah.
And if he is in a position where he's also lamenting,
Yes.
what can the ordinary man do?
But you know they know the way we operate in Nigeria. You know the way we operate in Nigeria. There is nothing that the administration look for from the legislative arm that we didn't do for them. And that's how I work. Don't forget, I was a speaker in my state. Most of the development you see in Adamawa state, we are part of it. So that is why, once this legislative arm, we need to have a cordial relationship with the executive arm so that we improve the living standard of our people. And that's why we are always in support of the administration. But why things are not going well, we need to speak out. We need to speak out. And I was saying, fundamentally, this is my own study. What's happening in the country fundamentally is from the budgeting system. We have issue from the budgeting system in Nigeria. So until we change, and I told you two things. I said budget system about the procurement law. Until we make changes to our laws, we will not have the benefit of the budget that we the appropriation we do every year in, year out.
Yeah, and Senator, let's take a look at the financial component of it.
Yeah.
Right, this $530 million,
yes,
right,
yes,
committed to the initial phase
yes,
of the program. We know that the federal government is a co-financier and the lead implementer. The Africa Development Bank, the Islamic Development Bank. You also have IFAD, which is the International Fund for Agricultural Development.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is huge money, right? Lesser than the scale of the problem, but it will definitely have some sort of impact.
Yes.
But we also know that not all of this money is free money, right? Some of these development partners want to invest these funds into areas they know could actually become viable, say a year or two down the line, in terms of the agriculture value chain. Does that explain to a certain degree, with the security challenges and the infrastructure gap in the Northeast, why perhaps the Northeast is not being considered at this moment?
Is it only Northeast that is facing security challenge? Is it only Northeast? No challenge in Northwest? No, even Abuja here. Do you have challenges? Relatively, most part of Northeast is peaceful now.
But as you know, Senator, investment likes security.
Adamawa is secured, for instance. Taraba is secured. And there are some elements of insecurity, kidnapping, it's all over the country. Even Abuja here, you know. When you are citing in Abuja, is free from security challenges? You know. Even some other states have sit at home every day. You have 3 days off. So when you look at this, there's no reason for us not to have it. But the minister said they didn't start this. And when they realized, they went for additional funding, and they got additional funding to carry all other states. So we are set. And but because of the management of the funding, that was why we were disturbed initially.
You're thinking this could be a one-off. There may not be any more money.
Money again.
Right.
And we were disturbed that we didn't. I don't overstate the perspective in this thing. And you know, even if they are going to get their money in 1 year, but in agriculture, there's no business within agriculture to get their money back in 1 year or 2 years. No, it's 10 years and above in agriculture. The financing cannot be 5 years or 2 years or 3 years. The finance for 10 years and above. With this financing, a lot of our people will get employment. A lot of our people will get business to do. This is what they're saying. So we don't, even if it's 1 year or 2 years, if it's an employee for people, and after they take back their money, this will continue functioning, we have the advantage of it, we take advantage of it, and it's better for us.
Do you want to be distinguished with others who say, listen, while it is good to see this level of pushback by legislators who are concerned about regional development, it is also not helping the polity if you publicize it, because then you are pretty much influencing the thought process of your constituents, that the administration, for instance, is sidelining you deliberately or systematically.
We didn't say the sidelining, we say we are appealing. If you look at it, it wasn't confrontational. We are appealing. But if something like this, we didn't say ignore here. We say something like this happening, remember there is a region called this. Look at the video, look at the...
Yeah, well, you're saying that they have forgotten you.
Yes.
You feel forgotten?
We feel forgotten, but now they explain that they were not the one that started this program. So when they started the program, these states are the only state that apply. That's what they told us. Most of the states refused to apply. So only these few states that apply, and they took all the states that apply. That's what they told us. But every man, every legislator or plenty of people, apart from legislator, if you see this, I believe the day they announced this, not only us. In fact, some of our constituents send me this, and they're asking me what happened to Northeast State, no Northeast State in this. So if you come from a particular area and they sideline them, or they didn't build project to them, they have this magnitude, people feel concerned. And it's only good for us to speak on behalf of our people. I received more than 50 texts with mails and WhatsApp chat that what's happening. A project like
Are you
this.
getting some of these text messages from industry players in the agriculture sector?
Yes. Some policymakers, some players, some senior stakeholders of the state, they're asking me, why are you not participating in this? Why is no state? That's what they ask me. Why is it that no Northeast State in this? And there is none of us, the whole senators from Northeast and the members of House of Rep, none of us that did not support what we did.
You're speaking with one voice.
Yes, because we're all speaking for the Northeast. We're all agreed to speak for the Northeast. So I think it's something that I don't think there's any bad blood maybe that will cause between regions, but even if that will cause, every region has their own commission. Now Nigeria is even whenever we are doing things, we consider regions, isn't it? If you come to a note to say, where is it from? Is it from Northeast or from Northwest? We are not the ones starting it now. But since this is established, even they say in the Constitution, and even when they were announcing the states that benefited, if you look at it, they mention it. In Southwest, Oyo, and this, in this, or this, and this, in North. That's how they announce it. So that's why we now ask, why is it that they notice? If you say, oh, 8 states in Nigeria qualify for this, just need the state, fine. But if you say from Southwest, we have Oyo, we have Ogun, from Southeast, we have Imo, from this, so it's a call for concern for us from Northeast.
And then finally, on this particular note, do you reckon that your public outcry, your agitation for fairness and equity in terms of allocation of some of these initiatives that have the potential of improving the sector, do you think it's something that has been registered with the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, and the federal government itself, so to say that, listen, if we don't want the headache of these lawmakers coming after us again, maybe we should, really think about pacifying them by taking something to
that was the purpose of us to come out to talk. And you see the minister reacted. Even mentioned the states that are qualified for the next phase. So we wait and see if those states participate. That's the benefit of us to talk. If you keep quiet, probably nobody will know. Nobody will come to tell us that, look, we are going to give these states, or maybe they'll come back and say, oh, the state are not qualified again. The purpose is express your interest if you're interested in these projects. So once you express your interest, so I don't think there's any criteria to be used that, look, you are not qualified or this person is qualified. Because the entire infrastructure, gives money, we will build the infrastructure. So what are you talking about qualification, whether you qualify or you didn't qualify? Is it land that we don't have in the state that the governments will offer? No, we have it. So I think our coming out has changed a lot and has improved a lot.
And have you made any concessions if they have to cite one processing zone in the northeast? Which state is likely going to be?
We are not saying give me or give this state. We are saying look at it. Cite this in northeast.
So it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
Whether it's Bauchi or Gombe?
Doesn't matter. Once you cite northeast. Don't forget that every region has a regional forum where all the governments meet together, all the governments, every region in Nigeria. So all we are fighting, if it is regional based, if it's state based, then I'll fight for Adamawa State. And if it goes to Adamawa State, I'll fight for Adamawa Central. Put it in Adamawa Central. That's why I present. But if it's talking of regional based, put it anywhere. I'll fight for my region.
All right. And finally, just before we let you go, let's talk a little bit about politics because 2027 is around the corner and the conversation has been heating up the polity. It looks like it's some years away, but as you know, politicians always have a way of keeping these conversations alive. There's a huge conversation that I believe you as a political figure know of. These talks of coalitions here, coalitions there. You're a strong member of the PDP. I just want to get your quick reaction. The PDP governors met earlier in the day and they decided, listen, we're not going to be a part of any coalition or any merger. What are your initial thoughts about this?
Well, I'm with them 100%. Yeah, I agree with them. PDP don't need to go to any coalition with any party.
Are you sure?
Yes. PDP in this country is a household name. In some places you don't need to advise PDP. The masses now in Nigeria are saying, according to PDP, they want to see PDP action all over the place. They are not saying they don't know PDP. They want to see PDP coming out. You can't go into coalition and start advertising any party. Start telling people, vote for this party or vote party A or party B. There's nowhere you go. And we are not as worse as 2015. I want to say this. We are all swept due to the 2015 election. We are not as worse as that. PDP is not as worse as 2015. You know the number of governors after the 2015 election that are in APC. And PDP fought back in 2019. We came back in 2023. No governors came back. We're having more than 10 governors in PDP. So I don't think PDP need to go into coalition with any party. But any party I want to join, we come and join PDP. Right. And then let's operate under PDP.
Right, okay. So the talks of coalition, if the PDP is not taking part of it, do you believe that that whole idea is dead? Because
I don't know what the promoters are looking at. Right. Probably they have other platforms, they can come together. But as I take it, for PDP, if I have the governors answered us, I will go the way the governors went.
No coalition.
No coalition.
Senator Aminu Iya Abbas, thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you. Appreciate you for stopping by and for the analysis.
Thank you very much
for your time.
We'll see you next time. Yeah.
All right, and that is our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Daily Politics returns tomorrow, live and exclusive as always on Trust TV. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Good evening.